peasant Cuco and his wife Cuca Maria have 6 daughters, known as the cucas. To take care of them from the numerous men who besiege them, Cuco commit suicide. Las cucas are disowned in town for this, but they and their mother set up a brothel to survive. The town cracks because the men do not leave the house of Las cucas. Only the youngest of them remains a virgin, so that her sisters and her mother marry her later, dressed in white. The women of the town then ask the governor for help. Vega was born in France 1937, but he built his film career in Mexico, where he conceived more than 30 film projects. His cinema was able to overcome geographical border, winning the Silver Bay at the Berlin International Film Festival thanks to his film Canoa. Similarly, several of his works were part of film festivals throughout the world, being recognized in Spain, Russia, Argentina, France, and Cuba. Philip Cazals was also a frequent not represented in the cinema, that of injustices, abuses, crimes, and inequality. The cinema of Philip Cazals addressed a relevant variety of themes and genre. However, the other war and Alfonso Reyes. A short time later, she ventured into the field of fiction through the tape, The Apple of Discord and Familiarities. A year later, Emiliano Zapata premiered a film based on the life of the Caudillo del Sur and starring Antonio Aguilar. This production marked the beginning of a series of films by Cazals, in which a dialogue with some event or historical figure with a human, critical, and revisionist vision of the event of the past. Along this same line, those years, La Guerra Rodriguez, His Serene Highness D.L. Chico Gran, and Ciudadano Bullena stand out. On the other hand, Philip Cazals also came to be framed within the trend that abounded in the cinema of the time. This being the case of the film Rigo is Love, as well as Las Seven Cucas and Undressed and Rowdy. Production that can be placed in the category of so-called erotic comedies. However, one of Cazals' most recognized thematic lines, and where his greatest contribution to the national film industry consisted of denunciation cinema. In other words, film production based on or inspired by real event in which police, political or regional authorities abuses were highlighted. It is here where his film Canoa is found, based on the lynching of a group of young people in a community in Puebla that occurred in 1968, motivated by the local priest. Lines stand out. El Apando, filmed in the famous Lecumberri prison under the Sapnel, Los Motivos de Luz, and the documentary Digna hasta el último breath, which was focuses on the life and death of human rights defender Digna Oka. Within Cazals' extensive filmography, a film belonging to a cinematographic genre that has not been frequently explored within Mexican cinema stand out. It is the film El Eno de la Peste. It has a script by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Jos Agustin, and Juan Arturo Brennan. Loosely inspired by Daniel Defoe's novel Diary of the Plague Year, the film brings together an important cast, including Alessandro Parodi, Jose Carlos Ruiz, Rebecca Silva, Tito Junco, Ignacio Ritt, Eduardo Alcaraz, Humberto Elizondo, and Daniela Romo. It was also filmed in well-known location in the country's capital. Its plot revolved around a plague epidemic that suddenly appeared in Mexico City. This film begins by showing how a man who was riding the subway dropped dead without the slightest preamble. Later in the forensic medical service, the doctors concluded that he died as a result of bronchopneumonia, thus being one more case that add to the number of mysterious deaths related to this condition. A doctor, alarmed by the situation and the consequences that an uncontrolled epidemic of this type could have, proceed to inform the national authorities about the resurgence of the plague in Mexico. However, politicians choose not to decree an epidemic in order not to alarm the public or economically destabilize the nation. This is the story of the 6 daughters and the wife of El Cuco, a man of Calderonian lineage, who sees his honor in danger. as many times a day as women live in his house, and he arrive virgin at marriage is a disgrace to his honor. Decide to find money with which to settle them far from San Loreto. Her employer, Miss Benita, is an ardent widow, willing to give her money on account of her love performances. But Cuco, who fears the castration with which her wife has threatened him in the event that he cheat, hang yourself in his own house in the presence of his family. But the pious Josephitas, ladies, and the active forces are not willing for the murderer's wife and daughters to continue in the town. So they plot their revenge. They will prostitute themselves, and each of the men who pass through the brothel must pay tribute to the deceased patriarch. Like other films of the time, Red Zone by Indio Fernandez, for example, a erotic comedy rapper, try to pass off content masculine and feminine. Unexplanatory scene try to justify the Catalan accent. He will pursue his cinematographic studies at the Institute of Higher Cinematographic Studies in Paris in the 70s. Upon his return, his professional career will begin with collaboration on Mexican Aunt Isabel's Garden. Those years, those who live where the soft wind blows, documentary of the series from Sonora Canova, El Apando, and Las Poquinchis. Between the 80s and the 2000s, he will make more than 20 films, including the western The Three of Cup. He has been recognized in his country with several Ariel Awards for films such as Bajo la Metralla and La Volta del Citrillo. The film revolves around El Cuco, a man who values his honor and believes that his daughter's virginity reflects on his reputation. To protect their honor, he decides to find money to send his daughters away from San Loreto. El Cuco's employer, Miss Benita, offers him money in exchange for erotic performances. However, El Cuco, afraid of his wife's threat of castration if he cheats, becomes hesitant. In an impulsive act, he kills Miss Benita, but later repents and confesses to the judge. El Cuco requests a grace in exchange for his honesty, asking to hang himself in his own house in front of his family. However, the pious Josephitas, ladies, and the authorities in the town refused to let the murderer's wife and daughters remain. They plot revenge by deciding to prostitute themselves, with each man who visit the brothel being obligated to pay tribute to the deceased patriarch. The film aims to critique the hypocrisy of the patriarchal society's active forces, highlighting the contradiction and treatment of Homo within the story. The inclusion of Alfredo Lucchetti, who played the mayor with a Catalan accent, is explained in an explanatory scene. Amparo, Munoz and Nadiuska are also featured in the film, representing the Spanish part of the co-production. Isela Vega is a Mexican actress. She is known for her versatile performances and has worked in both Mexican and international cinema. She began her career as a dancer and later transitioned to acting. She made her film debut in 1955 with a minor role in the Mexican film Los Fernández de Peralvillo. In the early years of her career, she appeared in various Mexican films, often playing supporting roles. Isela Vega gained recognition and critical acclaim in the late 1960s and early 1970s for her performances in notable films. Her breakthrough role came in 1967 when she starred in the film adaptation of Federico Garcia Lorca's play The House of Bernarda Alba. Her portrayal of Adela showcased her acting prowess and established her as a rising talent. Isela Vega also ventured into international cinema and collaborated with renowned director. She worked with director Alejandro Jodorowsky in the surrealist film The Holy Mountain and has a significant role in Sam Peckinpah action film Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. This project helped her gain recognition beyond Mexican borders. Throughout her career, Isela Vega has appeared in a diverse range of films across various genres, including drama, crime, and exploitation. Some of her notable works include Lycan, The Skeleton of Miss Morale, The Naked Cage, and Honeymoon in Hell.